Hey there class, in this video we are going to watch the first part of an interview I had with my friend Chris Hallett. Chris Hallett is an actor. He works in LA right now. I've known him since about second grade. He, will explain it in the video, but he was introduced to the theater in middle school, and he will talk about kind of his journey, at least early on, and what it meant to have people who pushed him and to be able to trust the people you work with. Now, as we've talked about roles in the theater, that is something that I want us to think about. What it means to be part of a collaborative and creative team, and how that can influence the work that we create. Chris has gone on to be in several television shows, in plays, and he's seen a lot of different parts of the business. So as we watch these videos, we'll be able to learn a little bit more about what it means to be a working actor.
Do you when do you feel was there like a turning point or something, like a moment when you're like, all right, like theater is something that I want to pursue, or is it just kind of like little by little you realize like, all right, this is the direction I'm heading in?
I'd say there was a moment. There was, or the moment was kind of like a time in my life because in middle school I did acting and did a couple of plays, and both the plays I got leads in and I loved it and I had a bunch of lines and there was nothing better than being on that stage. And then when I got into high school, I kind of fell out of it and fell into different parts of my life, not as happy or bright parts of my life, and kind of got distracted and gave up a lot of art, and then until literally one of my girlfriends, Taylor Randa, she pushed me into an audition. She pushed me into an audition for a Little Shop of Horrors, and I hadn't been on a stage in probably like 2 years. This was my sophomore. That was our sophomore year for the musical, and being back on that stage, it was that feeling coming back to me. It was almost like it had to go away and then come back to get that resurgence of like that excitement. Because when I first was acting as a kid, it was just the excitement of like anything, of just finding something new, that like excitement you have as a little kid. But then growing up, even though this was only 2 years, high schoolers don't know how much you change in high school and how quickly. But that finding it again after it had been lost for so long was just a resurgence of like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm meant to be. And then it was little by little challenging myself and pushing boundaries more, and still honestly being pushed by other people as well. Even the school that I went to out here called Theater of Arts in Hollywood. The only reason I got an audition with them was because our teacher, Mrs. Kate, who was our choir teacher and would help out with would direct the musicals. Her and our theater teacher, Mr. Travis, pushed me into an audition, or pushed me to audition at Thespian Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always those little tests, just like a little bit more. And I remember that was the first time that I was really going to be like graded on something, or like that's when like my monologue really meant something, because I was going to get one chance in front of 30 schools to be able to do that. But all of it, as I look back, was just like more like, did I have the fortitude? Did I have the willingness to like trust my art and trust my passion in something? And that ended up, of course, that got me not only that got me a scholarship with that school, with Theater of Arts, and then that took me out here, and then that's what my training became in school, was just pushing yourself further and further and further. And I think it was knowing, I think I'm still in a continual state of discovering that this is what I'm meant to do, and that this is why I'm here, because I keep coming up against those challenges. I still to this day come up against another challenge that feels scary, and I have to trust my art and trust myself and trust that it'll bring me through. And every time I do, it's just another more like, yep, this is why you're here. This is what helps you. This is where you feel most in flow. This is when you feel yourself. This is when you feel like you can conquer the world. So my like place as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I feel my most comfortable and my safest, and where I can be my most dangerous.
Yeah, cool. I like
Yeah.
that you bring that up. You feel safest, but it's also like you, because of that security, you feel like you can take those risks. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I remember when we went to the Thespian conference in Denver, and you did the monologues for the panel or whatever. Um, if I remember correctly, there was a school in New York as well that offered you a scholarship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And So would you say that it's I guess my question was there like a turning point? It's just like something that you keep getting that reaffirmation, like, yeah, this is what I want to be doing, this is where I find fulfillment, and this is correct, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it came from because there was New York Film Academy. I got an offer from New York Film Academy, and then I got an offer from Theater of Arts Hollywood. And actually, it came down to really just meeting with the heads of them. And I still remember when I met with the New York Film Academy person. It was someone who was sent out to Denver from New York, who was just there like interviewing students and like kind of pulling them in, and like they were just very clearly like sent there as a what's the word, like as an emissary, as an ambassador. As an emissary sounds much too fancy, but as an ambassador for the school. And I had conversations with him, and it just something didn't feel quite right, even though it had that like excitement of it. But when I spoke with the Theater of Arts president, I spoke with the president. I spoke with the guy who was running the school, who had the plan, who was excited to see me, who had come to see my work, or had come himself to start pulling students in. And I like that excitement of wanting to be involved in all the little details, no matter how high you are up in the school, wanting to be involved in that little bit. And I'm like, that's something I attach with. That's something I like, and like kind of feeling that. And I beat the president there, and to the booth where we were going to meet, and I actually met another kid there, Josh Burgess, who's still one of my best friends out here. And both him and I both went to the school together. And it was that moment of like kind of sharing and connection. And like the moment did just feel right. Much like when you're on stage and things are working and it's all happening, it just feels good.
Yeah,
like things feel, I mean, there is that flow. And I think you can find that in life as well, as you're paying attention. And if like something offers you up and you're like, I don't know, something's not right about this, like trust that feeling, being able to have and trust that feeling. Or you lean into something like, oh, this is good, I want to keep going along with this.